How could the CCTV leak expose a familiar face behind Taehyung's home break-in? Why did Jungkook urgently demand the arrest of the suspect? And why does the public fear this betrayal runs deeper than anyone imagined? Hook plus CTA opening. Before you read any further, ask yourself this. What would you do if the person who hurt you turned out to be someone you once trusted deeply? Would you still defend them, or demand justice no matter how painful it is? Comment your thoughts, hit like and subscribe if you believe the truth deserves to be revealed no matter how dark it is. Now let's dive into the leaked CCTV footage that shocked fans all over the world, leaving everyone speechless and raising one haunting question. Who betrayed Taehyung that night, and why? The world froze the moment the CCTV footage leaked. Nobody expected the investigation into the mysterious break-in at Taehyung's residence to take this terrifying turn. What was once assumed to be the act of a random intruder suddenly transformed into a chilling picture of betrayal that none of his fans, friends, or even family could have prepared for. The footage didn't just show a figure trespassing, it showed a silhouette that looked painfully familiar, too familiar. And from that moment, nothing has been the same. People have been replaying that footage over and over again, trying to understand who would dare to do such a thing. But the real shock wasn't in the act itself. It was in the slow, devastating realization spreading through the online community that the outline, the posture, and the movements looked like someone Taehyung once trusted, someone who should have been protecting him instead of hurting him. The leak triggered chaos, heartbreak, and fear. Suddenly, it wasn't just a break-in, it was a betrayal. Taehyung has been silent ever since the footage surfaced. His silence echoes louder than any public statement ever could. Those who were with him in the days following the incident described him as broken, not just by fear but by disappointment so deep it shook him to his core. It was no longer about stolen belongings. The intruder took something far more valuable: his sense of safety, his confidence in the relationships around him, his peace. The chilling part lies in the fact that Taehyung initially refused to show the CCTV footage to anyone, not even to the closest people in his life, which raised thousands of unanswered questions. Why would he hide something so crucial? Was he trying to protect someone? Or was he afraid of confirming the truth he didn't want to believe? It wasn't until the footage leaked without his consent that the world truly understood. Taehyung must have recognized the intruder long before the public did. And that was exactly what hurt Jungkook the most. Jungkook didn't hold back the moment he watched the leak online. Witnesses claim his reaction went beyond shock. It was rage, grief, and pure frustration all mixed together. He was reportedly shouting, shaking, demanding immediate answers. Why didn't he tell me? Why did he carry this alone? His anger wasn't directed at Taehyung, but at the situation, at the betrayal, at the system that allowed someone so close to inflict this kind of harm. According to insiders, Jungkook immediately contacted the authorities and insisted that every individual seen in the footage must be investigated thoroughly, regardless of their relationship to Taehyung. He didn't care about personal loyalty anymore. Justice came first. He reportedly said, voice trembling with fury, "I don't care who they are. Taehyung deserves to be safe. Arrest whoever did this." The intensity in his voice reflected a truth that fans had long suspected but never confirmed. Jungkook would do anything, absolutely anything, to protect Taehyung. But the aftermath only became more terrifying as detectives enhanced the blurry footage frame by frame. One detail became clearer with every second. The intruder didn't force entry. They knew the access code. They moved through the rooms confidently, without hesitation. They headed straight to Taehyung's bedroom without checking anywhere else, as if they had been inside the house many times before. That was when fans started connecting the dots, terrified of where the clues were leading. If the suspect knew the house well, if the suspect knew Taehyung's movements and schedule, if the suspect knew the passcode, then the suspect wasn't just familiar, the suspect was close. The comments online turned from confusion into fear, and from fear into heartbreak. Thousands of fans were left wondering the same painful question. How long had this betrayal been planned? And if Taehyung really recognized the intruder, then what kind of relationship did they have before trust shattered like glass? Jungkook, unable to stay silent, returned to the investigative headquarters 2 days later. And this time he didn't go alone. Taehyung was with him, pale and fragile but determined. Reporters described the way he clutched Jungkook's sleeve like a lifeline, as if he was forcing himself to face the truth even though it was ripping him apart. Jungkook stayed close, one protective step behind him, eyes sharp and furious. When Taehyung was asked whether he believed the intruder was someone he knew personally, he didn't answer with words. Instead, tears fell. Silent, uncontrollable, heartbreaking. Jungkook instantly stepped forward and wrapped an arm around him as if shielding him from the world. For the first time, the public understood the depth of this event. Taehyung wasn't crying because of the incident, he was crying because of who the suspect might be. It wasn't about fear anymore, it was about betrayal. Fans around the globe stayed awake through the night as the footage continued circulating, each rewatch adding more anxiety, each enhancement exposing tiny details, a walk, a hand, a tattoo-like shade under a sleeve that so many people recognized but wished they hadn't. Every revelation felt like a punch to the chest. The betrayal wasn't confirmed, but the possibility alone was enough to devastate millions. And yet, through all this pain, Taehyung hasn't spoken a single sentence publicly. But Jungkook has. Late last night, after hours of waiting outside the investigation center, he finally stepped in front of the cameras. His eyes were red, his voice low but burning with determination. For the first time, he directed a message straight to the suspect, whoever they are. "I hope you're watching this," he said. "You hurt someone who trusted you. If you have even a little conscience left, turn yourself in now, before the world turns against you, before Taehyung has to suffer more." The video spread like wildfire. It wasn't a threat, it was a desperate plea from someone trying to protect the person he cared about more than anything. And this is what terrifies fans the most. If the suspect refuses to surrender, the truth will eventually come out anyway. And when it does, the world will not forgive. Because this isn't just a crime, it's betrayal, it's personal, it's emotional destruction disguised as loyalty. The question now lingers like a storm cloud. When the suspect is officially revealed, will Taehyung be able to recover from the truth? And will Jungkook be able to control his emotions once the betrayal is confirmed? People thought the situation had already reached its peak, but the real shock had only just begun. Hours after Jungkook's emotional statement went viral, the investigation team summoned both him and Taehyung back to the headquarters. No explanation was given through the phone, just a cold, strict instruction that new evidence has been recovered. That sentence alone was enough to send pressure crashing down on Taehyung's chest. He couldn't stop trembling, and his hands clasped the hem of his sweater so tightly that his knuckles turned white. Jungkook, sensing the fear boiling beneath Taehyung's silence, took his hand and whispered something nobody else could hear, but the way Taehyung nodded afterwards suggested it was the only thing holding him together. The moment they arrived, detectives closed the blinds, locked the doors, and turned off every notification system. It was clear something heavy was coming. Heavier than anyone was prepared to handle. A laptop was set up in front of them with a single pause frame on the screen. Jungkook froze when he saw it, jaw tightening, breathing sharp and unsteady. Taehyung didn't dare look. "What you are about to see," the lead detective warned, "may confirm your earlier suspicion. If at any point it becomes too much, we can stop." But Taehyung shook his head weakly, voice breaking as he whispered, "No more hiding." The footage started. The intruder in the video turned toward the camera. Not fully, not clearly, but enough for the shape of the face to be recognized. A shadow, a familiar jawline, the outline of a profile that neither Taehyung nor Jungkook could ever mistake even in the darkest room. The suspect's hoodie slipped slightly, revealing something more incriminating than a face: a bracelet.